Religion taught that death was the door to another dimension, one their leaders insisted they would have wanted to walk through together, hence the wedding funeral. It was romantic, in a weird kind of way. I turned toward the stairs leading down to Death Valley. That's what we affectionately call the embalming room at Greener Pastures, but stopped when the front door opened. A wiry young man with a flower arrangement, almost as big as he was, entered. He peeked at me from behind a mass of roses and baby's breath cascading from a vase shaped like a dragon's head. "For the Swanson and Mark's wedding?" His Adam's apple bobbed nervously. I walked toward him with my arms outstretched. "I'll take it." "Can you sign?" I wrote my name on the paper he handed me and took the vase. He bolted out the door. L scratched his chin. He was in a hurry. "This place has that effect on some people," I said. I walked into the Jubilee and marched up the aisle. The heathenist religious group paying for the wedding funeral took its doctrine from what little was known about Norse mythology. The matching caskets had been specially made to look like Viking ships with tapered, curling ends. I had the perfect spot for the unusual arrangement. The dragon vase would make a good figurehead. I climbed onto the platform, placed the flowers between the caskets, then stepped into the aisle to survey the results. It was a bit off-center. "Imogene?" Elle had followed me into the room and was standing next to the bride's casket. I was in a creative cloud and only peripherally noticed my name being called, so I didn't respond. I stepped onto the platform and wiggled the flowers slightly to the left. "Imogene," he said, a little louder this time. The flowers were centered now, but they needed fluffing. The roses were all clumped together. I moved to fix them. "Imogene, come here." I glanced at him with consternation. Elle was one of the most mild-mannered people I knew, but he didn't sound mild-mannered at the moment. "What?" I forgot about the roses, walked to his side, followed his gaze, and gasped. "She's run off," he said. The bride was gone. 2. Jilted? I gaped at the empty casket. Where? I couldn't seem to finish a sentence. "You think Amy Lee?" Neither could Elle. I shook my head. They were embalmed last week. I was the one in charge of the finishing touches. Amy Lee was the head embalmer at Greener Pastures. I was her assistant, but I was still in mortuary school, so Amy Lee did the heavy lifting. "You think someone took her?" Elle's voice was hushed, as if he didn't want the groom to hear. "Who would want a corpse?" I must not have cared if anyone heard, because my voice rose almost to a wail. Elle grabbed my shoulders and spun me toward him. "This isn't another one of your fraternity pranks, is it?" "I can't believe you'd ask me that." He narrowed his baby blues at me. "Okay, earlier in the year I'd borrowed a tiny bit of funeral ash from one of our clients, so I could see Elle's point, but really, I took ashes, not an entire body," I said, a little less huffily. He released me and turned to gaze into the empty Viking ship-shaped casket. "She couldn't have..." The incomplete sentence thing was getting annoying. "Couldn't have what?" I snapped. "I didn't mean it literally when I said she ran off, but she couldn't have. Could she?" I looked at him incredulously. "She was dead." "You didn't get a hit?" A hit was what Elle called the sensations I got when I touched the hair of the dead. I'd discovered this gift, or curse depending on your perspective, when I'd done the hair of a recently deceased salon client last year. I'd felt her final emotions, which had been pretty angry. Turned out, I'd have been angry if I'd been murdered too. "I wore gloves," I said. I discovered the emotions, like low levels of electricity, were blocked by latex. I always wore them now. Which is beside the point. The dead don't get up and walk away, whether or not I get a hit. Elle shook his head. "I don't understand this." He walked to the right side of the casket, squatted, and examined the hinges. He stood, moved to the back.